Money is easy to make, at least for the Bank of Canada, but it's harder for the rest of us. Maybe even harder than making money is saving it. And for many Canadians, keeping the money they have saved is harder still.
Fees are one of the big things that eat away at savings. From banks and brokers to mutual funds and insurance companies, there seems to be no end to the nickel and diming of savings and investments. Just one example, in Canada, mutual funds charge an annual fee of about 2.5% just for the privilege of holding your money.
Fees come with different names. MER, or Management Expense Ratio, an annual fee for mutual funds or financial advisors. Trailer commissions, declining service charges on rear-load mutual funds, front-load charges, commissions for stocks or exchange-traded funds known as ETFs, insurance sales fees, and fees hidden in the small print. ACTRA Fraternal does not charge fees, but pays its fund managers from the funds themselves. It's the equivalent of an annual fee of 0.45%. Jonathan Chevreau is editor of Money Sense magazine and for many years was the personal finance editor at the National Post. He's written books on the subject of fees and how they can eat away at your savings.
How do fees eat into a saver's capital?
Well, this is the sort of thing that as time goes by, it's more of a pernicious effect. I mean, you could say that a 2% management fee on a mutual fund is not much over a year. You know, you could say $1,000, $20. The problem is the compounding of time, over time. Now, the fact is that over time, and we're concerned about retirement savings, which is by definition a long-term investment, even small numbers can add up.
Explain the most common types of fees.
Well, there's essentially two types. There's commissions on transactions, and the other one are asset-based fees. So commissions are in the old days, your classic stockbroker would have sold you a stock, and you bought 100 shares of IBM for $5,000, and you might have paid $200 commission right up front. And then again, when you wanted to sell it 6 months later, you would pay another $200 commission. These days, that was the pressure, why there was such pressure on discount brokerages and people have been flocking to them where you only have to pay $10 without advice. The industry responded to that by essentially trying to have a fee on the total assets of a portfolio. Let's say you have $1 million it could be anything, mutual funds and exchange traded funds, stocks and bonds. What the industry likes to do is to say, we're just going to take 1% of your total portfolio, $1 million, which in this case would be $10,000, is the fee you pay each and every year.
Here is an example of what fees can do. Take $5,000 invested over 36 years. Because the commercial fund is charging 2% more than the ACTRA Fraternal Fund, the final return is $89,542 versus $173,476 for AFBS. That's a difference of $84,000 or 48%.
Are there hidden fees?
I think so. I think most cases, the best example of a hidden fee would be really the no-load mutual fund. The no-load mutual funds, people think, because of the way it says, no load, no sales charge, one thinks that it means, in fact, many investors naively still say, oh, I'm getting it for free. It's not, well, there's no financial advisor going to work for free. In the case of a no-load mutual fund, embedded, it's called embedded compensation, embedded in the price of the mutual fund as a part of the management expense ratio is something called the trailer commission. Typically 1%, almost half of the MER, goes to the advisor for keeping you in that fund. So every year he or she keeps you in that fund, they receive this 1% trailer commission. It's there, but you think you're not paying it because it's called no load.
Are there instances where people are paying multiple layers of fees?
Typically, though, they'll charge another fee on top of the whole portfolio. So you're paying the blended MER of the underlying funds, plus a charge on top of that for sort of monitoring the performance.
What about life insurance?
Well, I think most people realize that the classic life insurance sales policy. I mean, when I think of millionaire salespeople, often that is in the air insurance. I think insurance is a lot less understood. The media doesn't pay as much attention as they do to mutual funds and ETFs. So you could probably, particularly things like universal life and whole life policies, they do very well, the upfront commissions on those policies. The average insurance person probably would rather have the larger commissions associated with whole life or permanent life insurance.
Here's a comparison of the returns on bond funds offered by a major Canadian life insurance firm and the two offered by Actor Fraternal. The life insurance product does offer some insurance, but its performance is much weaker than that of AFBS, and that is due to fees paid to brokers or agents.
When mutual funds first appeared several decades ago, a charge of 2.5% didn't seem outrageous. Neither did such a take seem out of line for financial advisors and stockbrokers. But back then, a return of 10% or more a year was not uncommon. Today, it's more like 3 to 5%, leaving little left for growth and income. Little wonder investors and savers are so nervous. This is Fred Langon reporting.